Okay. This is an interview with Arthur Peters at the Cambridge Public Library, Friday, June 28th, 2002, 10:30 a.m. The interviewer is Michael Russert. Could you tell me your name, your place of birth, and your date of birth, please?
Arthur Peters, and I was born in the town of Jackson, May 23rd, 1918.
Okay. What was your pre-war education?
I went grade school and 3 years of high school, and I quit last year. I didn't go back to high school last year. I had a job offered to me, and that was a lot of money compared to going to school.
What kind of work did you do before you entered the military service?
I was working in Hoosic Engineering, making distributor caps and stuff with presses.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and when did you join the service?
I think it was August 5th, I think either 13th or 15th, 1941.
Okay, and what branch of service did you join?
I was in the Armored Force.
Mm-hmm. And you enlisted?
No, I was drafted.
You were drafted. When did you hear about Pearl Harbor?
The morning right after it happened, we was all getting 30-day furloughs to go home for over Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And they yanked them furloughs right out of your hand, and the next day we was on a train, destination unknown.
So you were in service when it happened?
Yeah.
Okay, what was your reaction to this?
Well, I wasn't too happy about losing a 30-day furlough, you know.
How did you feel about the attack itself?
Well, I was kind of teed off at the Japs for sneaking in like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Could you tell us a little bit about your basic training? Where were you trained? Where did you first go?
We went to, when I got on a bus in Greenwich and went to Governor's Island in New York. And from there we went to Fort Dix, New Jersey, and we was there a while. I guess we took our basic training there.
Mm-hmm.
And from there they shipped us to Fort Knox, Kentucky. And that's where I was when the Japs bombed Pearl Harbor.
Okay, could you tell us, did you have any additional training? What were you trained in?
We was trained in driving trucks, driving tanks, and half-tracks and all that stuff. And then we were supposed to be an armored force, but we was marching a lot more than the infantry was at that time, I thought. You know, by hand.
Mm-hmm. What was your unit assignment?
First I went in, I got assigned to 752 Tank Battalion. That was General Headquarters Tank Battalion, they said. Mm-hmm. And then we went to Fort Lewis, Washington. As far as I knew, I was still in that outfit. And then we went to the Mojave Desert, where we took desert warfare training. That's in California, Camp Young. And then we went from there to England, and we was there a while. I think we got there in July, and we stayed there till November, and then we went to
what year was that?
1942.
Mm-hmm.
We went to North Africa, an invasion of Oran. That's where we went in Algiers there. And we was on a landing ship tanks, LSTs, and they were supposed to, the French underground was supposed to have everything under control. You didn't need to turn the light on that night. The tracer bullets were so thick they would light the sky right up.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went from there up through Africa. And
were you involved in driving trucks or in tanks themselves?
Trucks most of the time, because there was nobody knew how to drive trucks a lot, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, when we was in Fort Lewis, Washington, that's all I did there was train drivers how to drive trucks.
What kind of things did you haul in the trucks?
We hauled gasoline, ammunition, you know,
Mm-hmm.
rations, all that. We hauled about everything they use in trucks.
Mm-hmm. Were you involved in any of the actions in North Africa?
Not directly. We was right behind them all the while, but because we was bringing the stuff up, but we wasn't directly in it.
How long were you in North Africa?
From November till when I think that was over in maybe May or June. I'm not positive what,
That's okay.
but I know we drove when the war was over. We moved out to French West Africa, and they took calisthenics and close order drill and all that. We was there for a while, and then they packed us all up, and I drove a Jeep with a trailer behind it. It was loaded with I don't know what, all the way from there to Oran again, where we got on the ship to go to Italy.
What kind of ships did you?
That time we had a regular, it was a troop ship. But all the other times we moved on LSTs. And we went in Naples. The second armored, I think, went in Sicily. And I was in the first armored. Then we went in Naples and went up through all the way up through Italy to that Brenner Pass.
Now, were you involved in any combat actions during that
All the
period?
way up through Germany, Italy we was. And then for a while I drove truck, and then I got they sent me to school, learned to be a radio operator, and I was in the colonel's tank. Every time that went out, I went with it. And we went up to, went through Rome and all them others. First time through, they couldn't give you enough stuff, but you go back 2 weeks later and they couldn't charge you enough.
What kind of tank were you in?
We had General Sherman for a while, and then I got put in a light tank after I got radio operation. That only had a 37 gun on it, but our colonel he really liked to know what the Germans was doing. A lot of times we'd be 10 or 15 miles behind the lines. I know we was, because we'd be one day we was coming back from one of his exploring trips, and we met 3 them self-propelled 88s. Only I thought there was American tanks when I first seen them. They was all covered with brush, and I said to myself, them guys really went to a lot of work camouflaging them. But then when there was 3 of them, and the third one tried to cut us off so we couldn't get by, but we got by them. We went down through, this was in an orchard, and we went down the road a ways and turned off so they couldn't see us anymore. And our light tank would run twice as fast as theirs, so we got back to camp, and the colonel bragged about it. He didn't challenge him.
Can you tell any more about your experiences in Italy?
Yeah, I was put guarding German prisoners for a few days. I don't remember how long. And I had this one guy tell me he could speak English. He was going to take off. And I said, help yourself. If you figure you're going to run that 50 caliber machine gun bullet, go ahead. He said, don't think I want to shoot at you. He didn't take off.
Can you want to talk about some of the other actions you were in northern Italy, or?
Well, in the last winter of the war, they just mounted us and used us as infantry because tanks wasn't no good in the snow and ice and stuff. And you know, I had winter underwear on, a combat suit and all that stuff, but after you was outdoors for about a week and couldn't get in where it was warm, that cold would soak right through them, you'd freeze to death. A lot of times you give a month's pay just to get in where it was warm.
Let me think. Can you tell about some of your relationships with your officers since you were in the colonel's tank?
Well, that didn't cut any ice with the rest of them. And you had to, I mean, regardless what you were, you had to be they didn't want you, you didn't salute them on the front because they didn't want you to, but back off the front when there was, you know, if you was in town or something, you had to salute them, but not on the front. But then they were pretty friendly. after we got out of the States. It's when we was in the States is when I get them 90-day wonders that just got that second lieutenant. If you didn't salute one of them, man, you was in trouble. They really swarm right on you like a bunch of bees.
So all of your service was in the Italian campaign
Yeah,
after Africa.
yeah.
What were your relationships like with the Italian people?
Well, we got along good. They was friendly.
Were you over there when Mussolini was captured?
Yeah. But I didn't see him, or I mean, I wasn't near it. But we was on the way up to, we went up to, well, first that casino there. We was in on that pretty strong, and then they finally bombed it.
Can you talk about some of the actions that took place around Monte Cassino?
Well, first, I mean, I think we could have took it if they hadn't stopped us, but we went off the map, so they stopped us. And then after that, the Germans moved in a whole bunch of big guns and stuff. If you stuck your knuckle out, it was gone. I mean, and then that's how come they bombed it, because they had a big gun on a railroad track. I guess they'd push out to shoot, and then they'd pull it back in out of sight. After they bombed the casino, that did away with that. And then we was going through Cassino one time, and we knew the war was winding down because we wasn't getting so much resistance. Heard this motor start, and they had a tank inside the house. All, you know, that they closed it right up again. You wouldn't even know it was there. If they hadn't started the motor, we would never known it was there. I guess you know that one didn't last very long.
Yeah.
About 15 tanks shot at the same time. They wasn't even, probably wood about the size of matchsticks left of, and there wasn't much left of the tank either, not at close range like that.
When did you find out about the end of the war in Europe?
They told us, well, it ended about the same time it did there, very shortly afterwards. About, I don't know, a day or two before we got notified the war was over, all the German troops in Italy surrendered to us, to our outfit. And I was helping disarm them. And, you know, a handgun I sold the tank seat. And when we got them all disarmed, the tank was chucked right full of handguns. There wasn't no place to get in. So we had to turn them over to put them with the others, the guns and stuff, so the trucks would pick them up. But I brought home a P-38. I think it's a P-38. It was a brand new gun practically when I got it.
When did you return home?
Well, after the war was over, I got to drive a Jeep as messenger from our headquarters to another headquarters, and they were sending guys home with 85 points out of 5th Army. When we found that out, we went to the Adjutant General, and I was on the boat about 2 or 3 days afterwards. We was on the boat to go home. He really shook them up. We were relieving guys that had a lot less, been over there a lot less than we had.
What camp did you leave out of? Do you remember?
We was in probably 40 miles from Venice when I don't remember the name of the camp.
Were you discharged from the United States?
Fort Dix, New Jersey.
Were there any parades or celebrations going on when you returned?
Not when I was discharged. I mean, that was August 25th. See, the war had been over quite a while.
Yes.
But it was over in Africa, or Europe in May, but it wasn't over in Japan until August, wasn't it?
Yes.
So anyway, the war was all over, I guess, when I got discharged. I got 25th of August, I got out.
What kind of work did you do when you returned home?
I went to work in the loom sack paper mill. I could have went to work in the plastic plant or Hoosick Engineering. That's up here on them. But I thought, I didn't know, I don't know. My brother-in-law, I walked down there and he talked me into going into there. He said there's good pay and the work was, well, it was good work.
Did you get married when you returned?
A year afterwards.
You have any children?
4.
Okay.
There was Barbara, Ronald, Mary Jane, and Kenneth.
Okay. What do you think was your best remembrances from being in the service?
Getting out of a boat to leave Italy.
Why was that?
Huh?
Why was that?
I was sick of it over there.
Okay.
Besides, I hated taking orders from everybody you looked at.
How do you think your military service changed your life? Do you think it had a...
Uh,
Do you think it had any change in your life?
oh, I kind of appreciate being able to do what you want when you want to.
Mm-hmm.
When you was in the service, you had to kind of listen to them.
Do you belong to any veterans organizations now?
I joined the American Legion for, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years, and I never got to go to a meeting, so I don't know, but I think I am going to rejoin.
Have you ever had any contact with any of the men you served with, or your
All of them
unit?
I was with is from not nowhere near around here, either Chicago or Georgia, or, you know, all, nobody was local that I served with. The guys I took training with was, but I didn't serve with any of them.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
To Camp Idle Standish in Massachusetts. And we stayed overnight there, and then they shipped us right to Fort Dix, and the next day I had my discharge.
And sent right home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before I shut the camera off, did you want to show us those pictures, and,
yes.
then I can zoom in on them, and you can explain who's in them?
We can zoom in on them with the...
Was there a larger picture in here?
Yeah. Who's that guy?
That was when I was in the service,
Do you know when that was taken?
right after I went in.
Okay.
Now here's another sheet of different photographs.
Well, that's me and I think my wife and her brother.
No, your mom. It's not.
Your mother.
Oh, my mother and
Yes.
brother.
Now, what branch of service did your brother serve in?
One was in the Marines and the other was in the Navy.
Okay.
Okay. Is that you in the center?
How about these photographs?
Do you know?
Yeah.
I think these
Sally
two
knows
you
the
said
picture
were
better.
you?
No.
If
Him?
you-
Him.
Yes, these are you.
If you
These
could-
are. This is you with a crane, Uncle Art, and this is you at parade. This is you with a friend.
Yeah.
Now, what's this one here?
Turn the beer truck. He probably can't see it.
What-
Turn
what's-
around.
Why do you have the picture of the beer truck?
That's
You
a
don't wanna
beer-
tell
say,
us that.
That's a beer truck.
Yeah.
Okay.
He can't get a picture of it. Keep moving it.
Well, we'll have it in there.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And what is this here? It says Happy Easter with a...
You sent that to Uncle Fred. Says it right on it.
Yeah.
Oh, I sent that to my uncle at, when I was in the service overseas.
Says Happy Easter. Okay. V-mail? Is that
Yeah.
what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
whatever, I forget what they call it, but a lot of times when I got a letter, after I got home, I read it, there'd be chunks cut right out of them.
They'd censor them.
Yes. Okay, well, thank you very much for your interview.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, when we went, the first time I went to London in England, we was walking down the street and the girls would bump into you if they wanted, if they wanted to be picked up. So you go in a bar, take them in a bar room and see what they look like, if you want to take them out or not. So this girl bumped into me and I took her, and she was just like a doll. So I took her out a few times and she came out to camp to see me a few times. And I kind of got stuck on her, but her mother really liked me too, so she came over to our house and visited us after the war was over. And one time I was over there and German had a bad bombing raid on a town that was nearby, and they didn't even run for cover or nothing there. I mean, they was admiring the sights. I thought they was crazy to enjoy seeing a city like that get bombed. But then the Germans got to where they found out what it was like being bombed.
Did you ever have any contact with this woman after the war?
Her mother came to visit us. I never seen after I left England, I never seen Irene again, but her mother came and visited us a couple of different times.
Did you ever write to her or anything? Or?
When I was in Africa, I wrote periodically, you write.
And now, do you have any humorous stories that you can remember that you want to tell us?
Well, one time we was in Africa there, we just pulled into this area to they had the tanks all in a circle and the trucks all spread out. And we were supposed to dig a foxhole just quick as you stop. On account the Germans had dive bombers and stuff. Well, they was right over the hill from us, but we didn't know it. Probably our officers did, but we didn't. But we had one new recruit, he didn't dig a foxhole. And they came over and strafed the area and bombed it, and he was running around like a chicken with his head cut off, and they never touched him. But after that, don't ever jump in his foxhole, you had to have help getting out. you dig one right down there.
Do you have any other?
That's all I can think of quick
Okay.
right now.
All right. Okay, well, thank you then.